We're in London for Light Reading's annual OSS for SDN and NFV event. I'm here with James Crawshaw. He's the lead analyst running this event. James, lots of things talked about here at the event today, but maybe two key themes to pick out: data modeling and automation. What has been the big chat today around data models?
Well, to get the terminology correct, I think it's more about information modeling. So data modeling is down at a low level, information modeling is more abstract, and therefore that's useful for when you're having to get two different operators perhaps to collaborate in delivering a service, or for higher level management systems to talk to intermediate level management systems within an operator. And common information models, it's something that, for example, the TMF has talked about and worked on and collaborated with lots of operators over the years. So it's a serious goal. On the other hand, there's a lot of skepticism about how practical these things are, and whether you can actually agree a common information model between different operators, or even indeed within one operator that has different operating units in different countries, different lines of business within one country. So it's a polemic issue. And I think the takeaway today is that there is some sort of happy ground. There's some sort of room for standardization. Not everything is a snowflake, that we have to adhere to some sort of commonality. But when it comes to implementing it within a particular carrier or between two different operators, there's always going to be some room for integration and tweaking. So it's a valid goal, but it's not as though it's something you can just download off the internet and there you go, there's my common information model.
Right. And do you get the feeling that any operators are going to wait for a common information model before they take some next steps, or is everybody just going to move on ahead?
Well, the big operators are moving on ahead regardless, doing their own thing. The smaller operators, and let's not forget it's a fragmented industry, there are thousands of telcos out there. They're not all the size of Vodafone and AT&T. And the smaller regional telco operators in developing markets in particular, they're going to sit back and wait and see how things pan out and adopt these technologies when they're a bit more mature.
Okay.
The other aspect I think that came up today a few times was the topic of automation.
Yes, absolutely.
Deutsche Telekom has talked about brutal automation, and I hope it's not too brutal, otherwise these events in the future could be a lot quieter.
All the more noisy, I think. If it gets brutal, that's going to really stir up the market.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely clear that it's going to happen, that all the operators essentially, the operators talking here today anyway, are basically saying if we don't introduce some level of automation into our processes, into our operations, then basically it's time to pack up and go and find something else to do, because the networks are going to crash.
Yeah. Well, obviously they do. There is a lot of automation already today, but I think the idea is that they want to take that up a notch, take it to the next level.
Quite a few notches.
And in the process, clearly there will be a lot of reorganization, and they're doing that already. I think the initial steps are, for example, merging together the CIO and CTO offices, and then as they work together more collaboratively, I think you'll see a lot of the processes and workflows lower down being simplified, and then once they're simplified and once they're better understood, they can be more easily automated, and then we can start to take people out of the equation, and people unfortunately introduce human error. Human error has a cost, so it's all about cost efficiency. Right. That's what's driving automation.
Okay. Well, that's something that we're focusing on really closely on Light Reading. So as models and use cases and architectures come out, we'll be featuring those and pulling them apart and upsetting people even more than ever.
Fantastic. So, yeah. I look forward to that.
That's why we're here. All right, James, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Oh, and there's the bell.
There's the gong.